General business notice of motions having concluded, the House will now consider the matter of public importance. I call the member for Coogee.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise today on an incredibly important issue for men, women and children in our community: domestic violence, violence against women and children and its effects. White Ribbon Day on November 25 works to change the attitudes and behaviours that lead to men's violence against women. White Ribbon is an organisation that is working to prevent the most common and pervasive forms of male violence, that towards women. White Ribbon believes, as I believe, that by preventing violence against women, we will change our society forever for the better. I'll be participating in White Ribbon Day this Friday morning by taking part in a walk across my electorate with hundreds of others from High Cross Park in Randwick to Grant Reserve in Coogee. Prue Goward, the Minister for Family, Community Services and the Minister for Women will be attending, and I'd encourage all members to join us or to partake in a White Ribbon Day event in their own electorate to support this great cause. Domestic violence rips families apart. Men who commit domestic violence or sexual assault against women are feckless, disgusting cowards. They cannot be regarded as, nor should they consider themselves, real men. Real men see violence against women as the abhorrent and sickening act that it is. White Ribbon Day should be considered by any decent man to be important because it is up to us males, to set an example and take a stand against violence to women. All men should be aware of how our behaviour influences the behaviour of our sons, our brothers, our nephews, our colleagues and our mates. White Ribbon Day asks all men to take the following pledge: I swear never to commit, excuse or remain silent about violence against women. It's a short but profound oath and something all men should easily be able to pledge. We all share a responsibility to each other and to society to do all that we can to fight the alarming proliferation of domestic and family violence in our communities. There are some truly alarming statistics relating to domestic and family violence and violence against women. Studies have indicated that domestic and family violence contributes to the death, ill health and disability of women under 45 years of age more than any other single factor, including smoking and obesity. This alone is a truly disturbing figure, but this is just one of many, many alarming statistics relating to domestic and family violence. 2 in 3 victims of domestic and family violence do not go to the police. Nearly half of the 92,000 victims and the 82,000 perpetrators who came to the attention of police in 2010 had a history of such incidents over the previous 5 years. 12% of victims had been victimised 5 or more times, and 16% of perpetrators had been identified as perpetrators 5 or more times. Domestic violence has serious long-term effects that extend well beyond the immediate experience of violence. These effects can manifest themselves in many ways, including depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, eating disorders, arthritis, early menopause and even cancer. Furthermore, there are also serious, lasting negative impacts on levels of income, home ownership and superannuation, as well as lengthy, difficult and expensive legal and family law related proceedings. But domestic and family violence is far more than statistics. These women are our mothers, our sisters, our nieces, our friends and our daughters. If we can't speak up and stand up for those close to us who are affected by domestic violence, then we're just as cowardly as those who perpetrate it. The majority of women who experience domestic violence will also have a child in their care. Far too often, children will bear witness to acts of violence and may be victims of violence themselves. The biggest influence on a child's development is the environment provided by their parents. What they determine acceptable behaviour is primarily influenced by their parents' actions. No young child should ever live in fear of their father coming home from work or the pub to witness the shouting and abuse, the swearing and the aggression, the shoved in the chest or a blow to the face. Imagine that night after night, week after week, or year after year. All too often a child won't know whether this is right or wrong, or normal or abnormal. Some will never learn, and they'll grow up thinking that not only is domestic violence normal, but that it is excusable or even acceptable. The effect on a child's mental and physical development can be lifelong. The physical scars may heal, but the mental scars will remain. Some may turn to alcohol to numb the pain, some to drugs. Some may feel they have nowhere to turn except to suicide. Something needs to be done, and this is where we come in. While governments will never be able to fully prevent an individual's violent behaviour, and the complete eradication of domestic violence will be an incredibly difficult task, we must strive to do better. We can target the issues that contribute to domestic and family violence in the first place, and we can continually work to increase the support for victims of these crimes. In a report handed down earlier this month, the Auditor-General had the following to say about how we have dealt with domestic violence and family violence in New South Wales. There are no standard ways to access services, he said, for victims and perpetrators that might help prevent ongoing violence. Unlike Victoria, Western Australia, parts of England, New South Wales does not have a common framework to identify domestic or family violence, assess risk, prioritise need and refer people to services. The lack of coordination is a particular problem for repeat victims and perpetrators, many of whom have complex mental health, drug and alcohol problems and are difficult to work with. He continued to note that while there has been a proliferation of trial programs across the state to help combat domestic violence and assist its victims, there is no plan to consolidate or bring these approaches into the mainstream. There's huge challenges facing government and non-government alike, including the lack of coordination, a lack of effective means to refer people, a lack of safe accommodation for victims and children, a lack of training and a lack of perpetrator programs. White Ribbon Day is on Friday, and I would encourage all male members of this parliament and all men in my electorate and the 92 other electorates around this state to take the oath for White Ribbon Day and pledge never to commit, excuse or stay silent about the violence to women.
It being 7:30pm, with the consent of the House, I will allow the member for Coogee to complete his reply before leaving the chair. The member for Coogee in reply.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Well, I'd like to thank the member for Auburn for her contribution to this matter of public importance, and for particularly reminding the House that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander women are overrepresented in the area of violence against women, and then she indeed pointed out that it's a complex cycle and has damaging effects not only across our communities but right through generations. And I do recognise the work of the previous government, but we must be bipartisan on this issue. We must see that there is no politics in this issue. This is what we are here elected to do. There's a community good. And the member for Wallandilly and his experience on the Macarthur campus of the university out there with the huge white ribbon, fantastic for bringing this sort of raising the profile of this great cause. And indeed, thank the many who have made it possible in his electorate, but I'd like to thank the many that have made the White Ribbon Day, or will make White Ribbon Day, a success on this Friday, coming from right across the state. And let's hope that the disturbing experiences that the member for Wallandilly experienced as a court officer, where he'd seen victims withdraw AVOs because of the threatening looks, that will soon be a thing of the past.